attack, and we've got ourselves a much lower rank opponent. That's fine. We're just going to have to modify our fleet a little bit to get our ships in line with the limitations that we've got there. Going to want to take some mostly medium ships against this sort of opponent, since he's got those lower level ships that are a little bit less durable, I should say. Let's see, how much can I afford with that? Can I get... no, that's just a little over. Let's get rid of that and then add another one of these. So, got ourselves two of these medium bune and two matchlock kabaya. Matchlock kabaya I quite like, they've got a decent punch. On the other hand, I don't think I've got the right setup to be using those currently. Let's add one of these. Let's get rid of one of these. It's always very tricky to balance one of these army setups, or the naval army setups, because there are so few options that I think are really worthwhile taking. We can take a heavy bune, that would be something. No, the heavy ones I don't really like necessarily. A samurai large ship might be a good idea, since they're relatively intuitive as to how they work. You just sort of point them at the enemy and click them. Okay, so naval battles, it's much harder to get it down to exactly 0 funds. I have 50, he has 300 left, so that's because there are less options, obviously. We're on the Sea of Japan, which is basically a completely blank ocean map. Pretty balanced because of that. The modern sea battles have much more interesting scenarios where you've got all sorts of crazy things going on. You got like capture points with guns, automatic turrets on the shoreline, and just really much more dynamic, I think. Okay, so the way ships work in this game is that they've got a large complement of archers that will start exchanging fire. Certain ships are specially designed to board other enemy ships and will do a very good job if they can do that. But for the most part, you just sort of try and get your arrows. The problem is the high lip of a lot of ships makes them very resistant to arrows, so they tend not to take as much damage as you would think they would. Sometimes you can light an enemy ship on fire with flaming arrows, but for the most part, it's difficult to get that to work consistently or reliably. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want my 2 bomb ships further in the back here. Let's just group these all up like this for now. And let's see what our opponent has taken. Okay, so he's got some samurai light ship. He's got a fireball medium ship. He's got 2 Bokabaya, which are very light ships. And he's got his heavy admiral's naval bune. So he's got a very light ship-heavy fleet. One of the things that I can try to do is set up mines using my fire ships. I can't remember if his fire ship has mines or not, but I can always hope he doesn't have mines on them. Now, one of the things that I've taken is this samurai light ship. It's fairly vulnerable to boarding, but what it has is a ton of archers for its cost, so it's capable of putting out a ridiculous amount of arrow fire as long as I protect it. So that's why I put it in between my heavy bune and my medium bune, both of which are sort of more, a little bit more durable. They're a little bit harder to get arrows up on, and they've got a little bit more capacity to repel boarding attacks. Now, on the other hand, the samurai ship does have very resilient crew members, even though there are a few of them. They do have the bonuses that samurai have against lighter, less competent opponents, which is why my opponent has sort of weighted this one flank over here. That one side is much scarier than his Bokabaya flank, because Bokabaya are pretty much useless. They're just sort of a throwaway unit. They're the kind of like Bo Ashigaru unit of the sea. And that's exactly what they are. They've got a small crew of bows, and they can't repel pretty much anything else. If you get into melee against them, they're pretty much toast. And if you fire at them with your other larger ships, they're quite vulnerable as well. They're quite exposed. So fighting them with my samurai large ship, for example, would be fairly in my favor. One of the other things, all ships have a large number of abilities. As you can see, I've got movement increase on the Admiral's Bune. I've got a rally, I've got flaming arrows, and Warcry. Warcry is the same as on land, essentially. This also has Warcry, flaming arrows, higher move speed, but it doesn't have rally. If I bought another heavy ship, if I recall, all heavy Bune have rally, but I'm not positive on that. Now these guys have deployable defenses. I'm not sure if I can deploy them anymore, but I think I can. I'd have to see, but since we're still far, far away from where we're probably going to be fighting, it's not really to my advantage to be dropping deployable defenses yet. Another button you can push is this repair button. If your ship catches fire, you can hit that. It'll make your ship slowly start to put out the fire and repair any hull damage it's taken. Since my opponent hasn't taken any guns, he's not really going to be causing any fire damage, or any hull damage, I mean. I think you can sort of see, though, why I don't really like the naval battles in this. It's very, very, very slow. Without the power of sail and with such large maps, this can sometimes just be a real grind fest, especially because my opponent, I don't think, is moving up as fast as he really could be. His big ship is just lagging way behind, way, way, way behind. But you need to fight with your admiral's naval heavy bune in naval battles. It's an important part of succeeding here, I think. Okay, so one of the things I can sort of do is try and use my admiral's heavy bune to try and get at this Bokabaya. It's unlikely that I'm going to be able to board it because they're much faster than my ship. So I'm going to probably not try and board it. I'll probably just try and use arrows. But if I can get in close, I can probably focus that down and get it out of the fight pretty quickly. The high priority target is going to be this firebomb medium ship, which is basically like two of my firebomb Kabaya. The difference is that my ships are much cheaper, they've got a little bit more bombs, and I can use mines with them. The other danger are the samurai light ships, potentially. I'm not going to worry too much about them, but they are very efficient for their size. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, he's swinging a bit too wide, I think, with that Bokabaya to do anything with it. So let's keep our forces more together. Yeah, let's keep them pretty together here. And we're just about in range to start firing at one another. I don't really want to waste my flaming arrows on these samurai ships here, so I'm going to let my ships avoid that. My medium bune is tanking these shots, which is good because it's a lot less likely that they're going to fire the shots onto the deck of it. As you can see, the crossfire here I've got on his lead ship is going to really shred it apart. My samurai ship is taking some fire, so I'm going to pull it around. And at this point, it's just a bit of a scrum, really. Taking out a ton of those samurai there. Let's pull a war cry over there. I was trying to board my medium ship with the samurai light ship. Probably a mistake, but you never know. He's using his Bokabaya to take my command ship there for some reason. Oh, he's managed to get fire bombs off. I need to repair that, but I can't because it's on fire. Let's rally. All my ships are on fire now. Need to repair this ship. I'm going to put it on repairs. Oh, nope, that's... One of my ships is down. I don't know which one, but... My flagship captured something. Okay, that ship's almost won. Now, the problem with repairing your ships is it takes a very long time, so could potentially cause my crew to lose the combat while I'm waiting for that to happen. Now, his light ship is routing, that's fine. That ship is still good. This one is routing. So I just have to wait sort of for this ship to finish winning combat here, which it should do relatively promptly, because it is winning slightly. And it is a higher... Oh no, this is a bugged out. Oh dear. Yeah, so that bugged out and they're not actually in the process of docking. Okay, so I'm going to wait till this Admiral's Bune has finished repairing itself. Unfortunately, almost all the archers are dead. But, okay, so that ship's routing finally. Let's get some flaming arrows on that. See if I can light it on fire as it runs. Oh, not this bullshit again. Okay, so ships are still on fire. I think the cooldown for these fire arrows is a little bit too low. Okay, let's take out the samurai lightship quickly. Let's use one volley and then start repairing again. Actually, no, it looks like I'm still repairing. I don't know. Okay, so now his ship's on fire. Take that. So they're going to be routing as well. Smoke pouring everywhere. Okay, so I've got my 3 ships. Looks like that's going to be relatively the end of those guys, so I just have to keep waiting until these ships are repaired. All that's left is his Admiral's ship. And I'm not sure that any of his other ships can really rally here. They might, but a lot of them are on fire, it looks like. Okay, I'm going to pop whistling arrows on his flagship over there. I'm going to switch off boarding, and I'm going to light this one on fire as well, hopefully. We'll see if that works. Don't think they've actually fired. Okay, perfect. My samurai ship is not on fire anymore, so I'm going to start working it into a better position here. His samurai lightship has surrendered. Oh, this has caught fire as well here. Fantastic. I can't repair it for some reason. Oh no, it's not on fire. Okay. Thought it was. Okay, let's pop a rally just so that this ship sticks around a little bit longer. But as you can see, my arrows are just mostly bouncing off the sides here. Let's try and keep our ships in motion here. That's usually considered helpful. As he sort of gains distance against my samurai ship, I should be able to start getting better shots against him. Or not, from the looks of it. Yeah, he's still got plenty of crew on that ship. I just need to get that good angle though on the samurai ship, and I should be in a better position than him. Okay, so I think I've got my samurai ship at a good distance here to start getting kills. You can just look at those giant showers of arrows that the samurai ships can put out. Really strong at that. And it looks like we've put his ship on fire as well, so he's forced to do a desperate boarding attack since he held his ship in reserve is one of the problems he had here. Okay. Gonna pop a war cry for this thing and see if I can get him to... Oh, no, we're on fire again. You gonna start repairing? and hopefully, typically you take more casualties when you're attacking when you're doing this. But we'll have to see how this goes, because my crew is severely depleted. I've still got a lot of my elite troops, though. One of the things you'll immediately notice, though, is I'm lagging, for one. And for another, a lot of the troops that jump aboard that ship tend to get killed as they jump across. Okay, so it looks like I'm firing into that sort of melee quite heavily there. See if I can get this around just a little bit better. But yeah, I should be in a decent place to win this, just because of sheer numbers. Okay, so he beat my admiral's ship, which is bad, but let's hop aboard this thing. Because I don't think he'll be able to beat all of my ships, is the big problem here. Oh, no, he's routing. I can auto-win that. Yep. Okay, so that's naval battles. As you can see, not all that interesting. Everything catches on fire way too easily, and it's just sort of silly. Don't particularly have much fondness for it, but it gains us access to a few things that we need to finish up on this map. So, it's one of those things that you just have to grit your teeth and do once or twice. Follow the Samurai, much more interesting. Highly recommend you try a couple of those. The ships are a lot more fun to use. It's a little bit broken in that, like, explosive shells will tear through ships, and some of your ships, if they take an unlucky hit to the mid, will just immediately explode, which is incredibly prevalent if you're using a lot of the Admiral ship type. The Admiral ship, I forget what it's called, it has one prow-mounted gun that has a longer range than other ones, and people just auto-fire it because you can manual fire guns in that, and they tend to one-shot ships from long distance, which is really broken. It's a very not interesting way for that game to progress. They should have not allowed that particular strategy to be so effective, but it is what it is. I mean, I think they may have actually done something about that in recent patches, but I don't think it was anything too dramatic. Okay, looking at our general, it looks like we're very close to our next rank. Yeah, ridiculously close. So when you win a sea battle, you get pretty much nothing. As you can see, we've unlocked this and it has not unlocked any retainers or new ships or anything like that. All it does is open up access to things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get to. Okay, so going through the units, you can go through kills. That's actually how many crew you killed, obviously, not how many ships you killed. So we got all sorts of nonsense going on here. My most deadly ships were my 3 heavy ships. Obviously, the medium ship did really well for its cost. Samurai large ship did fairly well, but cost more. And my admiral's ship, admiral's bunets are actually really deadly if you're using them properly. His admiral's heavy bunnet, not so much. The rest of his guys did sort of meh. Fire was on his side a little bit more than it was on mine, but that's because he was sort of using it more often. Anyway, let's head over to the map. I'll just show you the only other place that you'll really have to do naval battles. It's this tiny island where you'll unlock another ninja grouping. So I'm going to move this over here, even though I'm probably not going to do that today. But you have to take this, and then you have to take this inner ring, which is nonsense. If you want to look at the other ship types that are here, there are cannon bunei, which are ships with cannons on them. They cost 6,000 per ship, which is absolutely ludicrous for how little they do now. They used to automatically sink ships, basically, if they got a full broadside against them, like a good broadside below the waterline. Now they just sort of cause some morale panic and maybe, if you're lucky, kill some crew member. But it's not anywhere near as good as it used to be. The really good one now are the siege tower bunei, which have people on a high tower using guns, which rain down fire over the tops of the decks. And then, of course, you've got things like the Nihon Maru, which is an absolute tank of a ship. Tons and tons of crew. You just send it around boarding ships, and you use repair on it whenever it gets a little bit in trouble. Other ships, the Ootake bunei, again, it's just a boarding ship. You send it around really quickly to board enemy ships. The smaller size version of that's Sengoku bunei, which is more efficient in my opinion. The Ootake is pretty well-rounded, but it's got that low waterline, low deck, so it suffers in the shooting department a little bit. The Sengoku bunei, same thing, but it only has 10 archers, so it's much less painful. The bow kabaya and the matchlock kabaya are very inexpensive, sort of light ships. They're used sort of for skirmishing. I like the matchlock kabayas, but I think they were too expensive for what they do in a lot of senses. So those are basically the ships. They do very similar things based on what weapon they have. Either they've got the cannon, which is singular and a little bit less useful than it should be right now. You've got fire bombs, you've got arrows, and you've got matchlocks, and those are the only real weapons they have in this. I wish structural damage was more represented in this game and did a little bit more. Matchlocks, fire bombs, and cannons are all about structural damage to the ship, but you can't really sink things in this anymore, so it's not really that relevant. Anyway, this has been the Yukitsu Times. I hope you found this informative, and I hope to see you all next time, where I will probably be doing something more interesting than this.